Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing the Journe Quantième Perpétuel, part of the Octa series. This is Journe's second design of a perpetual calendar. The original one was based on his calendrier, and it was a anniversary limited edition piece for his Tokyo boutique. Well, this is a more refined, purpose-built, that is scratch-built perpetual calendar system with the more recent evolution of the full dial numerals on a lovely, I would call it mauve blue base. The watch is 40 millimeters in diameter in platinum, and as you can see in profile, 48.3 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. It is 11 millimeters thick with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and it's comfortable. The 48 millimeter lug to lug, especially with the tight downturn of the lugs, means this wears really well on a borderline wrist. And I would say the smallest wrist that could pull this off is probably going to be 14 centimeters. Again, my wrist is 16. I've got some clearance. I've got some spare wrist on each side of the lug, so I'm in no danger of an overlap. And then you can see in profile with a domed bezel and a thin cross section, it'll fit easily under a cuff. It is a dress watch after all. We have here a FP Journe factory strap. It's small round scale alligator leather on the bottom and large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top. The benefit of gator top and bottom is a longer lasting strap. It is anthracite, so somewhere between black and silver. It's a matte finish with a folded edge and a monotone stitch. Journe tends to drill his cases close, so you see how the drillings for the spring bars are very close to the case and far inboard of the tip of the lugs. That means that the pivot centers are fairly far inboard, meaning that it wears better on a small wrist. But you need to use a curved spring bar if you do drill the lugs close to the case so that you still have a full range of motion for the strap, and happily that's what's been done. We have pull tab spring bars that allow you to remove the strap without tools for a quick cleaning between the lugs or strap swapping. And then we have a matching Journe Platinum pin buckle. It is branded, so you will not forget who invented and made your buckle, as well as your watch. The case here is a tried and true piece. It's been used on basically every Journe watch that's not a sports piece or a vagabondage or an elegant since 1999. So we have a domed bezel with a little flange outboard and a domed case back with a flange. Those flanges define the mid case. Everything's polished. The lugs are integrated to the case band and turned down almost 90 degrees from the horizontal of the case. And then we have Journe's distinctive double dimple knurled crown, giving way to a dial that is, well, shall we say, less confined than the original version. When this watch first came out in 2015, it featured a metal bezel that looked a little bit like a football that bounded everything in the center of the dial. And although it's attractive and a lot of people prefer it, it's good to have options. And without that bezel, the dial breathes a little bit better. Hands, frames for the calendar, as well as the radially arrayed Arabic numerals are all white golds. They won't tarnish or oxidize over time. We have a Clou de Paris stamped pattern at center, and then outboard we have a railroad style track for reading your minutes. We have the typical Journe biomorphic tapered hands, but on most Journe watches they're blued. Here you can see they're bright polished, which is an unusual treatment. The power reserve indicator indicates 120 hours, though in truth these latest generation Octa 1303 movements, they can run for about 160 hours, but 120 hours is their chronometric power reserve, during which they keep best time. So that is what Journe advertises. Now we'll get that hour hand down a little bit so you can see how everything works. Journe wanted you to be able to adjust the calendar without having to use a tool, because oftentimes people lose those tools or they don't have them at hand, and they wind up using a pen to set their perpetual calendar, which can be damaging. So step one is creating a quick set mechanism that allows me to cycle the day using the crown. Okay, easy enough. Turn in the opposite direction, and now you can see I'm able to cycle the double-digit date, the grand date. Finally, there is a little hideaway trigger underneath the lug at 1:30 that allows me to cycle the month. All of that, and then I have a little stub index underneath the main hands that points to this 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that gives you your leap year cycle phase. It is a perpetual calendar, so it doesn't need to be reset until the year 2100. So it can deal with irregular length months and leap years. Now on the reverse side, you could see that inside this platinum case, we have a solid gold movement. Bridges, plates, and rotors. The bridges and the plates are 18 karat gold. The rotor is 22 karat gold. You can see there's a nice rose-lathe Grand Orge or barleycorn pattern engraved into the rotor with a black polished Journe logo. We have circular Côte de Genève across the bridges, and you can see we have a combination of mirrored beveling on the edge of the bridges, black polished screw heads, engine turning in several sizes on the base plate, satination on all of the wheels, and Journe beveling is actually getting better. So they used to appear quite obviously machined. Now they're more clearly rounded and mirrored, which is a big step up from how they used to look. Technically speaking, this is a unidirectional winder with that 120-hour chronometric power reserve. It has a large high inertia balance that uses inertia and size to make up for its lack of beat rate. It beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and like a chronometer or a high horology watch, this is the standard 5 positions of adjustment, so comprehensively adjusted to run well. Journe has often bragged that he designed his Octocaliber 1300 to run like a chronometer, something he believed previously imperfect when coupled to an automatic movement. As he tends to say, the fluctuation of mainspring barrel torque in an automatic makes it difficult to achieve precision, but this base movement gets around that qualm. All of this water resistant down to 30 meters, and again, possibly the preference of most folks now, these open dials without the football bezel around the center, and a lovely combination of platinum and blue. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.